Awesome.
9 a.m., right?
9 a.m. Yep. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lunch is included. And so you're going to want to hear this one. Every one of them, I feel like just keeps getting better and better and better, which has been so awesome. As we continue to grow and develop this will be our 9th one. I can't believe it. So from agent to entrepreneur. Okay, let me try it again. From agent to entrepreneur, there we go. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. lunch included. January 23rd. It's over at Mount Claret Conference Center. That's what I keep calling it. Turns out it has a different name. So we will put the registration link in the chat in a little bit when we get everybody kind of in, and then you guys can register from there. But this is definitely an event that you want to invite people to. We have lots of space at this one, so I can be very clear about share the link, post the graphic. It's in my social. I'll put it in the Arizona page and workplace so that you can have access to it. That's more static than just Instagram stories and Facebook stories, but it will also be there. So you'll see it all over the place. And then I have the privilege of sitting on a panel at the end of this month that I'm kind of excited about. It's a let's just talk business kind of panel. Todd Bookspan's friend, Dave Savage, is going to be there. And that guy, I just think he's pretty remarkable. And so there's a couple other people on the panel. So I'm excited that I was asked to do that. I really feel privileged to do that, but it's one that I'm really excited for, because I think there'll be some good discussion, and I think it'll be healthy discussion around the market and what our attitude is about it. To use Kimberly's word this year, our attitude around it. And, my word is more. So we want more of a whole bunch of stuff. And we want to keep promises to ourselves, to use Cindy's word. Who else wants to share their word really fast? Remind me. Reagan, hit me.
Okay, my word, it came to me this morning.
Wow.
And I thought about the 6 areas that you mentioned from the book, right?
Nice.
So I want to be world class.
Whoa, a hyphenated one. Look at you, you overachiever.
All right, I'm laughing because that's mine too, Regan. That's I've been putting in my planner. I've been putting in my planner since last year, BWC every day for be world class. And I thought to myself, do I need something new? And I realized, no, I'm still not there. So that's got to be my focus for 2024.
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
Look at you, world class people crossing state lines. I love it.
That's an example of great minds think alike.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's really cool. Now I feel, less than, but it's okay. I'm just going to be like regionally class instead of world class. I can only do so much. I love it. Okay, everybody. Anybody else want to share their word that you came up with between then and now? I like it. All right. So we have attitude, promise, more, world class, world class. What did I miss? I'm missing one. Elevate is Danielle's. That's right. All right. These are big words, you guys. This is actually super exciting because when you think, this is going to annoy me. When you think about the things that will happen because you are in this group connected to each other and we're talking about our words on a regular basis, we probably won't do it every single week, but I will for the month of January try to remember to bring this up at the beginning every week so that we just kind of get it solidified, but also that our community knows this about us, right? And so it's fun to celebrate each other and what we're doing in our individual lives and how that impacts our collective group. So very excited for all of us. Very excited to have Fate on the books for January. It will be our 9th one. So I think Karen just put a message out that she posted the registration link. So please grab that. And then Karen, if you could also post the graphic so that people could steal it and use it in their social if they want to, that would be fantastic. Okay, I think those are probably all my announcements. Is Sharp on today? I don't see Sharp yet. Okay. Mr. Bookspan, do you have anything you want to share with us in our wild and exciting life here?
Anything I want to share? Well, go Birds. My Eagles are playing tonight, so this is, really exciting for me. I'm dressed the parts. There's really mortgages are boring. I mean, the bottom line is this, right? I talked about it last year. It's time for you all to be reaching out to your database and clearing confusion around their concerns on the market. And then I would be helping out whoever your favorite lender is, or I'm happy to step in and be their favorite lender. Any of your clients who have lots of debt, even though they might have a 3% mortgage, we're seeing lots of clients who have, $30, $50, $80,000 worth of high interest debt. So we're doing some consolidation now with the goal of refinancing them again in about 12 months. And then I do think if you start asking them questions around the whole idea, are you feeling house hostage with your 3% mortgage? You're going to identify people who want to move. And so I just think getting in front of your database, I think you guys are all doing it, but that's just my reminder because we're having tremendous success. And in our world, it's a little more urgent because they're all getting contacted by people either pretending to work with us or loan servicers trying to refinance them. And for most clients, unless they've got debt, it's a little too early to refinance. I think they're probably 30 to 90 days off from needing to refi. So a lot of them are just getting bad advice now as well. So if someone's got a bad refinance quote, I'm happy to be their second set of eyes.
Awesome. Can I put you on the spot for a really quick second? Because I learned
Sure.
something a while back, and now I'm a little foggy on what I think I thought I learned. So I'm like, wait, I need to figure this out, and I need a mortgage brain to do it. So if somebody is buying a, I don't even know if it has to be owner occupant, but they're buying a property and they're trying to avoid mortgage insurance. So they're putting down 20%. But the interest, the more I heard that the more you put down, that likely the higher the interest rate could be with things. So is there, number one, is that true or is that just bad rumor? And number two, if it's true and I put down 5% for this mortgage and then come back after everything is secured and done, and then put the remainder of what my 20% would have been done toward my principal, can I then keep my low interest rate and wipe out mortgage insurance?
Wow, that was a lot. Yes. All right. I like how you think. So let me answer the last part first. You can always come back and pay more money down. Most lenders, I shouldn't say most, a lot of lenders will do what's called a recast. So they'll recast your payment. The problem is if you put down only 5%, you have a higher payment than if you put down 20%. And so even if you do a principal reduction down to 15%, you're still going to have a mortgage payment monthly based off of the only 5% down. So that's what scares most people off of what you're talking about. But without getting too technical, since I see Steve here, I'll make it kind of quick, is where that line is. It's really, there's a line at 80% and then there's a line at 85%. And it's called an LLP, a loan level pricing adjustment. And there's actually a 0.25% lower fee for 80 to 85% than there is from 75 to 80%. So when they say the rates are really lower, it's that the fee is actually lower, the interest rate is the same. And so you will sometimes see a lender try to get really tricky, and they'll actually have the person put down 19% instead of 20%. And then when they make their first couple payments, they'll be below the threshold and the mortgage insurance will disappear. But I kind of feel like that's getting in the weeds overall. It would confuse most of my clients. But if I do have a super cheap client, then I may challenge them with that to make myself look smarter than I really am.
Have you met me? Super cheap.
Well, listen, I wear that uniform too. I wear that uniform too. So yeah, any kind of questions like that, I'm always happy to jump offline too and answer for anyone. So y'all should be able to find me somewhere, somehow in this world of social media.
Thank you. So the reason I brought it up is because I'm seeing all sorts of stuff in social media about interest rates are lower, they keep going down. Now we have people saying, well, if they're on their way down, I'm just going to wait till they keep going down. So we just have this constant dumbass mentality. Sorry, this is recorded. This constant dumb mentality. And so can you help us counteract that? Because, we've been telling people, I hate the date the rate, buy the house, or whatever that thing is. But is there a way for us, a good thing for us to say about this and about, obviously to me, things are volatile, so you never really know. And house prices, when the interest rates do come down, I do believe we're going to start to see an inflation of pricing. But what do you want us to say?
I think there's two conversations, right? There's the conversation with the buyer who's on the fence, with regards to, we all know that when rates go down, that we're going to have increased demand, and increased demand is going to put pressure on prices and potentially create bidding wars. They're going to lose flexibility in getting seller credits and that kind of thing. And so I still think it's, instead of telling the person that that's going to happen, is just ask them the questions. Hey, well, what do you think is going to happen? When to the number of buyers in the market when interest rates drop, what's your experience with, multiple offers on a home? What do you believe, is going to be the result of more buyers trying to buy the same house? So there's other ways to get to that same result, and help them make the decision for themselves, instead of you telling them now's the time to act. Because, I'm like you all, I believe it's now's time to act. And then on the refi side, that's really where you can protect your clients, because what lenders are doing now is they're offering these super low rates, but with super high fees. And if someone's truly feeling pressure on their finances, it may make financial sense. But, that person's going to refinance again in 6 to 18 months when rates go lower. And, that 5, 10, 20,000, we just saw one, it was $23,000 in fees to do a refinance, and the client loved it. But we're like, well, what if you can get that same rate for no fee in 6 months? Would you like that more? And they're like, of course. And so it's just a matter of, you've got true salesmen out there trying to sell your clients things that they don't need, and they just need a consultant. And so for us right now, we're spending our time talking people out of refinancing, but we're queuing them up and we'll get the business. But we're fine with getting one refinance versus getting two, just to give them the best advice and save them money.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot. The last question I have before I pass this off to my friend Steve is, has anyone used offerrunway.com? It's a simple yes or no. It's how you submit an offer. All right. I'm in an arm wrestling match with an agent right now who is not in our broker, but he is his own broker owner. And he's incessantly texting me his position on this and arguing with me. And like the whole world is using this. And I'm like, geez, I've heard of it, but I know it to be a tool that most broker owners use that have small brokerages, because it does help streamline their offers and connects with their back system. It's basically so that they're paying for automation, not somebody to handle things. So it's a cheap way, but his thing is very, it's highly encrypted and you're protected, but you have to put all of your information, all of your clients' information, and he has direct access to your clients. So we're having, right? See those faces? That's what I'm saying. I win. That's all. I just wanted to check and see if I was like being completely ridiculous, but I'm like, oh,
hell no.
Right? And it says to me,
No.
when you fill it out, it says to me that the listing agent has by filling this in, you're giving the listing agent permission to communicate directly to your buyer any offers or any negotiations, any counter offers, etc. And I was like, no, but he will not accept an offer any other way.
So what about if you just put in your you put in your phone number, or you put in Kelly's phone number and put in Kelly's email?
Do you want me not to be married? What is wrong with you? Oh my gosh. No, but for me, I'm like, okay, everybody's information is my information if this is the only way, because it's not cool. Anyway, I just wanted to test the waters with anybody else, make sure I wasn't losing my mind, and to see if it's more prevalent than I know. And I take your word for it. Okay. Whew. This is a long intro today, but my friend Steve's here. I'm super excited to have him. We haven't heard from him in a while. And so he's been working on some stuff we're really excited about. And so I've asked for him to come and spend some time with us this morning. And so Mr. Steve Valentine, it's all you, Chief.
What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Good to see all of your faces. I know I've been in and out, so I figured I would kick off the new year with some of the stuff that I've been doing, but also how important it is for each of you, just some of the things that I've learned over the last 90 days. So I want to kick off with stupid story, stupid designated brokers, because I think that designated brokers go to be a broker because they sucked at selling real estate and they couldn't do it. So that's why they're reviewing paperwork. Had a great complication. For all of you guys know, I love to just make my life complicated on a regular basis. We are moving some portfolio pieces around, and I've got a property on the market for sale and for lease. So it's listed by my company, but for lease with our management company. And well, as you know, we usually do pretty good communication wise. We executed a lease and a contract on the same day within an hour of each other with no communication between the two companies. So, my original comment about the designated broker, and I want to remind everybody here on this call because it's part of our company. Morals and ethics is work hard, be kind, right? So I get this call from the designated broker, and I already know I've got a problem. I got to figure this out. I've got a tenant. Christy Salas is on ICE is on the phone right now. She's or on the call. It was her client that we moved into a short-term rental. So anyway, the designated broker calls and just lights me up. No conversation, no questions, no anything, just lights me up and wants to go down the rabbit hole. So it's very interesting just to see where, and I'm getting to the point of the story because it has some of the things that I've learned over the last couple of months. It's just our goal in this business is to ask questions and work with each other to find a solution. And same thing with the designated brokers. Their goal is to be a voice of reason between two agents, not to be the, I did tell this broker to get off his soapbox and come back down to reality more than once and finally hung up on him. Anyway, I just bring that up just to remind you guys, like this year, like let's work in our industry to, work with each other and be kind. Now, if somebody wants to pop off, then I totally get it because I'm that same way too. But we need to work harder to make it better for all of us as we're trying to do the best we can for buyers and sellers at the end of the day. So that was stupid story today for the designated broker at the hot air balloon company. All right.
We're not naming names. That's so nice.
We're not naming names, but I deflated his balloon and I hope he enjoys his trip. So here's the deal. The last 90 days, some of you have noticed I've been a little bit on the ghost protocol. I kind of disappeared off social media and I decided that what most of you know, and there's really important to this. You guys are actually, I haven't shared a lot of it. I'm sharing it with you guys because I think it's important. These last 5 or 6 years have been an insane grind. I don't know about the rest of you, what you have going on besides your real estate business, your family. We've just seen a insane up and down. For any of us that have been in the business for the last 7 years, it has just been all over the freaking place. And so many things have evolved and changed. Well, it finally took me to the point. So many things on my plate between coaching, teaching, investing, working inside Real and doing all the different things. I finally broke. So I broke in September. It's been a long couple of years with a lot of different things going on, both personally and in business and different things. And all of a sudden it was just time. So in October, I hung everything up for 30 days. I walked away. So I turned my business over to my staff. I turned everything over to my wife, my staff, and I disconnected and went on a sabbatical for 30 days with no phone and no laptop. It was pretty enlightening, pretty empowering. And I know that we're going into one of these years where I believe that for a lot of us, it's going to go one or two ways, depending on how we handle this year. So I want to just kind of share a little bit personal, with you guys this morning, something that's going to encourage, inspire, and motivate you guys for 2024 and beyond. They are just things that I think are really, really important. And it's something that I'm toying with in the back end as well. So, hey, Kim, do I have permission to share my screen? I do. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Where's my damn thing? So how's everybody's year starting?
Excellent.
Well, I'm trying to figure this out real quick. If everybody just kind of go around and give me, I don't know if you can define this by a word or a sentence, but define your version of success.
Oh, satisfaction.
Okay.
You took the word right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
Satisfaction in what way, Kim?
Instead of having a target that says that when I am successful, I've hit this level, because then what comes after that level, it's not for me about a level. It's about what I'm doing and knowing that I've achieved something and I feel deep satisfaction for. So it could be a financial goal, but it's also, a lot of personal goals, like relationship goals, like making sure we're healing broken relationships, investing in people, whatever that is, knowing that I've worked hard to get a deep level of satisfaction. That to me is success. Because the bank account and whatever tier I'm trying to get to or level in my life I'm trying to achieve, it's generally empty, because when you get there, you've had such a focal point of it that when you get there, you don't know what's next. And there will always be something next. But lots of times when you hit one of those goals, there is a following depression that happens, because you don't know, like, okay, I did it. So now what? That was my big, hairy, audacious goal, right? So for me, I removed the word success from my life and replaced it a few years back with the word satisfaction. Am I satisfied with my results? Am I satisfied with where I am? And then what do I want to do next? And that made that peak and valley of success and failure, or success and then aloneness, not happen. It leveled a lot of things out when I changed the word to satisfaction.
I love it. Anybody else?
I would say impactful, impacting people, those around in my circle. You know, and it's not just real estate based, obviously, like impacting my children and impacting the people that, you know, I talk to on a daily basis, just being present and impacting.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So one of the things I realized, the pressure, we all put so much pressure on ourselves to perform, to be in the limelight. Social media has done a really good job of fucking us all up of that. There's probably going to definitely be some social media therapy needed in the immediate future when it comes down to. We're in January, right? And some of December was spent by most of us looking at what are our goals, what are our mile markers, what are we doing in 2024, right? And we live on this year-to-year goals, accomplishments, rather than what I'm starting to realize is life is really a journey, and there's no, yes, final destination is in the ground, but obviously there's more destination beyond that. But the journey of life is these goals can be equated to mile markers. And what happens on mile markers? We're on a journey. We pass them by and we keep going to the next thing, right? I think sometimes we do need to take some time to stop and celebrate that mile marker or that win and move on to the next thing. But I think some of us, in my opinion, and what I've looked at, is we make these big goals and we're allowing social media and certain people to influence our goals are too small. But the reality is, are they your goals? Do you own those goals? And at night, can you be proud of what you are accomplishing in those goals, despite where everybody else is at on the scale? And, you know, in my opinion, what has really broke me over the last 90 days is watching what everybody else is doing and feeling like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not enough. And am I worthy of doing more when it comes down to it? So I don't know if any of you are experiencing those things, but the reason I'm sharing this is because what it looks like from what most of you guys see in my social media life, there was a lot of problems that I realized in the roots. And so I want to go to this picture here in just a second. Our success is found in our roots. Everything, and I'll tell you what's really interesting. So during my sabbatical time, I had art. And one of my art projects, which was really, really weird for me, was we had to paint this rock. And for some reason, I drew a tree. I draw the tree. It's terrible finger painting. Like if I could find a picture of it, I'd show you. It looks like something I did with my kids in kindergarten. But I draw a tree and I draw the ground and I start looking at it and I start drawing roots. And I'm like, why am I drawing all this? What is the point behind it? And the aha came to this for me for the last couple of years. And I think that a lot of us will relate this in one way, shape, or form in parts of our lives or all of our lives. We are so focused on watering the tree and the tree looking very pretty on social media, very outward appearance, all the things, right? Appearance in our business. We don't want anybody to know anything that's going on, which rightfully so in some aspects. You know, we're all entitled to our personal life. It doesn't have to be plastered all over social media. But what I realized was when you look at this picture, the tree is very pretty, but it's the roots below that need more of our attention, or else the tree starts to wither, it starts to get some dead spots, and eventually it becomes weak and it falls down because the roots were not taken care of. So for me, when I start looking at like, what are our roots, and are we really paying attention to these roots so that our tree is strong and to continue, weathering the storms that we've weathered over the last couple of years? And I think that a lot of us are at this point where, look, the last 7 years have been a freaking complete roller coaster. It's up and down. Our time is off. Our schedules are off, all the things. And so, I really encouraged myself when I took this break over the last 90 days to go through some things and figure out, like, what is life supposed to look like? Because in this business, and keep in mind, I grew up in this business. Okay. So I have watched the grind my entire life. It's never seemed to be like a normal grind, right? We all signed up for that, for not so normal. But it seems like the last couple of years has just been a go, go, go. I even shared with my wife, I'm like, I feel like we haven't celebrated any of these mile markers. We've just worked and gone on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And so, I was really encouraged this year to just really pull it back and slow it down. Because I feel like the mile markers are passing and things are happening. And so slowing it down and focusing on some of these routes. It's actually on Friday, really interesting. And this is where I'm gonna start going into it. Friday was 1 year ago that I started down the road, and I've always been off and on, just like most of us are off and on in our health, right? It's like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's an up and down, and we're not consistent. The only thing that makes a difference in every one of these routes for you is consistent work. Let me say that again. It's consistent work. I don't care how long it is. I don't care if it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. The point is that it's consistent. And if you go back to one of my favorite books, Atomic Habits, he really talks about creating the atomic habit, and it comes from consistency and work. It never says in there like how much time you need to be doing it or whatnot. It's more about the consistency and the willingness to do it day in, day out in order to get here. And in our business, we do this, and it applies to everything in our business. And I love the analogy because I've been spending so much time there. So I've spent a year in the gym. I think I've missed 20 workouts in 365 days. The interesting part is I've lost 0 weight. My physique has changed drastically, but I've lost 0 weight. And so some of us go in for different goals, and the goal doesn't quite align, because originally I wanted to get down about 30 pounds. And as I've worked out, I've eaten more, those types of things. The result wasn't exactly what I set out for it to be, but the actual result that I achieved was greater than I expected because of just being consistently working, right? And there's some days I go to the gym and I'm like, I freaking hate this. I don't want to do another rep. I don't want to be here. I want to be doing nothing. We do this in every aspect of our life, in our roots. Right? When we sit down to learn something about finances or paying attention to it, it's like, it's work. I don't want to do this. I need to be making this call. I need to be doing this thing. The reality is, if we don't take time in each one of these roots to strengthen our tree, it's going to be weak in certain places. And one of the weaknesses that I see, it's not just one, there's weaknesses in every one of these things. And we're so focused on our business that we forget to spend a little bit of time in our roots. Here's the big piece too, as I asked earlier, is like, where are we determining our success? What is your definition? Same thing, definition with getting to retirement, your definition of success. So I have changed mine to where my life is simply a journey. I have some mile markers in mind that are my goals and things. And the reality is that some of those mile markers may take me longer to hit, but there's still going to be a goal. And you only fail when you quit. So if you continue to go and you continue to drive down the road, it may take you longer to get there. That's okay. And I honestly believe that we have to take inventory of the things that we were doing and figuring out, do these things bring me joy, and are they part of my definition of success? Okay. I have done a lot of soul searching the last 90 days about things that are on my plate and to whether or not do they bring me joy. Now, just because something brings you joy doesn't mean it's not going to be hard or it's not going to bring pressure. The question is, are you excited about it? Does it bring you joy? And are you willing to run through the wall to make it happen? Those are the things that are going to be important to you. The things that you're like, take them off your plate. Just put them aside. Gary Keller says the best thing about this is like, I get 100 ideas presented to me a day. 99 of them go in folders and they sit until the right person or the right time comes along. But I can't say yes to 100% of these opportunities. There's not enough time or bandwidth to do it. And what happens is exactly what happened to me is I constantly, yes, yes, yes. And I keep taking on more and more stuff and then realize like either things are not being done to the ability that I know that I can do them, or we're half-assing them, right? And they don't really bring us joy. It sounds like a good idea, but does it really bring you joy? So started asking questions when I have ideas or different things. So I want you to think about this in your real estate business. If you're thinking about adding a lead gen source, or you're thinking about doing a client event or putting something in motion, one, are you willing to be consistent at it? Two, does it bring you joy? And three, is it really that important if it gets done this quarter or next quarter? Not that I'm saying to like keep pushing things off down the road, those types of things, but we all know in this business things change. Look at COVID, right? In 90 days, our market completely swung the other way. And then you look with the interest rates, right? It swings the other way. And so now there's evolution and there's pivot. The goal, though, is no matter what happens in those things, is that, well, I already talked about that. Are our roots strong enough to withstand that evolution in the market? Because I believe that if all these things are in check, that you will be unstoppable going forward in the success that you've determined you wanted. And I want you to really think about that today, whether it be in retirement or your business success. And again, I want you to write down your definition of success, not everything else. And every one of these roots, same thing. We hear from so many influencers, so many people in our industry, so many different things. Like, you know, I'm looking at Cindy's face on the computer right now. Cindy's morning routine might start at 10 a.m. because that is her ideal time to start her morning routine and go through it. And she should be super happy with that routine. There should be no guilt because some other influencer's like, I get up at 4 a.m. and I grind and I go to the gym and I do these things. Some of us just don't want to fucking do that. And that's okay. But you need to determine what it is that makes you happy, brings you joy in that day-to-day routine. Because at the end of the night, it's the same conversation that I recently had with my oldest son. I said, son, he was feeling guilty about something. I said, look, if you can lay your head on the pillow at night and be proud of your day, that is all that matters. You have to be proud of it. Not mom, not I, not any of that. You have to be proud of it. Now, you can have a little bit of guilt in it going, you know what? And I don't want you to have guilt. I want you to think like, could I have improved a little bit? And if so, where is that improvement so that I can do that tomorrow, right? These are the little consistent things that change on a daily basis that bring us back into our roots, right? If there's something financially you need to do differently, what is that? What do you need to spend 15 minutes a day doing? What are those things you need to do in that financial resilience? Because I believe that a lot of people on the financial end, and this is what I'm seeing out there, I don't know about you guys, but it's pretty intense what we're seeing right now inside our own industry, in the lenders, in the title companies, where everybody lived very high on the hog during COVID. And now you get a lot of people that are cutting things out and trying to figure things out. And the reason that is happening is because there is no consistency in their roots. I work with a lot of network marketing companies, and it's crazy to see where they blew it up during COVID and they are dying now because there was no consistency. There was no work on their finances. There was no work on their business side, their skills, their roots. And so what happens is if you're not focused on those roots, you are just going wherever the wind blows you, and you have no specific plan that you're willing to stick to and fight through to create that success in your life. And it's holistic. So here's where I really wanted to go with this. For those of you that run teams, this is an amazing thing that I have recently discovered having conversations with agents is I believe that if you will take some of these pieces and start to figure out, I think when we have team meetings, I think when we're going through the business itself, I think we're very, very focused on one thing, and that is business and how to do more of it. And I think that the agents, if they will be so much more successful and less stressed if they are figuring out how to be guided through some of these other routes in their life to where their life is a holistic success, and they're not successful in their business and their personal life is screwed up.
I gotta go to my Zoom call.
Oh,
Thanks, Todd. So we want to start thinking about these topics and some extra additional things that we can do with our teams. And I'm not just talking about your agents, because if truly we want the best, it comes all the way down to our support staff and everything else, to where I want, and I will spend my time working with my staff on what does their retirement look like? Where do they want to go? How are we going to help get them there? Because I believe that if your internal structure, whether it's your family or your business, if those root systems are being focused on, talked about, and helped through, they will make a successful difference in everybody's life. And I've just seen too many of it where the agents are calling me from different teams, different brokerages, like, how do I do this? What does this look like? And I think as a team and team leaders, we need to bring these things into the fold and start getting a little bit more involved personally with our agents and helping them get to that next level of success and what that looks like in their business. I just thought I'd throw this together. It was kind of fun at the end of it, right? It's just, what is your journey? Kind of the vision board. What are you defining as success? So when I look at it, it's really weird being in my mid 40s, because all of a sudden I understand the midlife crisis thing. You're like, okay, so my kids are grown, they're still living at home, but now what? Where do we go now, right? Kim's got grandkids running around and traveling and doing all this other weird stuff. So Kim, when you were in your mid 40s, which wasn't that long ago,
thank you.
how was it with Nick and Jamie? Like, when you and Kelly started talking about retirement, like when Nick and Jamie moved out, like what changed?
I think we had a really unique situation in our life because we were pretty much this sandwich generation. We were raising our kids and caring for our parents, right? And so we had maybe some tethers were getting looser with our kids, but they were getting tighter with our parents as they were aging and going through things. So I'm going to fast track through some of that just because that might not be everybody's story. But I think the important thing for Kelly and I has always been, we have to find time and interest that we have together so that we continue to grow together and stay in community with each other. And sometimes that just meant saying, hey, all y'all are on your own, we're out. And then some of the rest of the time was, hey, how can we support you? That was like our personal choice. But I'm the one who plans to live to 110. So I have just barely hit midlife as far as I'm concerned. So maybe I don't know what you're talking about.
Hence the convertible.
Hey, I've had 3 convertibles in my life. I apparently have had multiple midlife crises, but I think when I look at that, it's honestly, it's just about us being in alignment about things that we want to do and places we want to go and things we want to experience. And I mean, we've spent a lot of time and effort in thought about what our legacy plan is, like planning for our kids' future and for our grandkids' future. We're 4th generation planners, meaning that we are trying to build things that sustain through our generation, our kids, their kids, and their kids. So we're weirdos when it comes to that because I have no idea what the life and the world will look like then. So trying to have wisdom, I guess, is where, I mean, our quest is eternal wisdom, I suppose. And so trying to figure that out, how we can support them in different ways, but not yield, so that it's not a silver spoon mentality, right? Like, we want them to work, we want them to earn, know the value of money, know the value of managing and leading a business. Whatever their dreams are, we want that to be supported. But I think for us, we're very mindful of, hey, we have a contribution that goes beyond just our own life. So we're probably not the right examples. We're a bunch of weirdos over here.
Well, I think I appreciate you sharing that. No, I think it's important that we're all thinking and learning and where we're growing to, and what that definition of success is. Because I start looking at retirement, and one of the drills that I've done in the past is kind of your dream life budget, and starting to figure out, what is it going to look like for retirement? What do I want it to look like? What do I want my days to look like? What am I going to be doing? We're all at that point, and I glean a little bit from my dad and go, well, at 65, I don't want to work 20 hours a day. That's not my definition of success, right? Do I want to help people and go through those things? Yes. And I think some of us are at the point too with our kids, our spouses. The relationships are really important, especially those of you that have teenage kids. You're getting ready to venture on the most impressionable years of their lives when it comes down to being there for them. And I'm grateful to have that time with my kids and do those things. So, it really comes back down to the things that I've learned. One, don't be afraid to disconnect. I think if I asked everybody to raise their hand that has taken 24 hours away from everything, most people can't. Like, I'm talking about phone in the garbage can, laptop in the garbage can, and I don't care if it means sitting on the couch for the day and being just disconnected with yourself. That's okay. There's no guilt or shame in that. But there are times that we do need to do that. I did it for 30 days, and it was life-changing. And I'm very, very excited for it, for this change and going forward. So I just want to encourage everybody to really focus on your roots this year. Realize that 2024 is just going to be another chapter and another journey, and there's going to be some mile markers. There's certainly going to be some evolution in our industry and things that we have to pivot on, and not everything is the same.
Hey, can I jump in? Because you provoked a lot of things in my head. And I'm such a nature nerd that the tree thing really resonates with me. But one of the things that I learned, so I was raised in Northern California, and by that I mean like way up top, almost Oregon, and that's where the sequoia redwoods are. Mm-hmm. And I came from, before we moved there, we lived in Idaho, so a lot of like pine trees, and you can do the research on this yourself, but a lot of forest type trees have something called a taproot. And what a taproot is it's the center core of the tree that goes really, really deep. And what it does is it helps create stability for the tree, right? So in windy places, or if it's a lot of snow, there'll be heavy weight of snow on the tree. It keeps it from bending and breaking. It can bend, but it won't break because that taproot is so low, so deep. And that's the kind of that core of strength. But in the redwoods, they don't have a taproot. And if you look at the size of these trees, right? Like if you are from there, you can drive a car through trees. Like they have all these like little goofy things you can do, right? There's a cheese house stump like this. It's a cheese store that's in the stump of one of these trees. Like they're huge trees. So if you've never done this, I would just encourage you just to Google them, but I would really encourage you to like fly to San Francisco and then drive north to Seattle, and you'll see some trees and smell some smells like you've never smelled in your life. My point to it is that the huge redwood trees don't drop a taproot. And what happens is they are constantly dropping like the part of their weight, and they're incredible. But by dropping all the time, they're growing other little trees. And so what happens is there's this big mammoth network of these trees, none of which have a taproot, but they hardly ever fall over. And it's partly because of their width and their height, like they're unbelievably sized, but it's because they're in community with other trees, right, that have the same kind of thing. So there isn't actually room for them to fall over. And when they do, it's generally because there's some sort of disease and they've rotted out, and that's it. But they grow to hundreds of years old. They're really impressive trees. So if you want to just do some like, how does that impact my life, or how can I apply it to my life? Look up some information around the sequoias or the redwoods. They're interchangeable for terms. But what impresses me about that is the root structure is how they're all connected. They're connected to each other. They're not standing by themselves. They don't have a taproot that says, I could stand on the side of this mountain by myself and I could endure anything. They're just majestic, but they can't do it by themselves. They spread their roots this way, not this way. And if you look at them, it looks like you should be able to take a big hard rush at one and just knock it over because it doesn't have a taproot, but because it's so connected to its community, right? So your family, like whatever your community is, this community, Lions and Legends, right? Who you are surrounded with and who gets your time is really, really important to what kind of tree you're going to have. How many rings are you going to have in your stump, so to speak? So, Steve, when you talk about getting back to your roots, I think sometimes, we in our industry, we drop a taproot because we think we have to survive by ourselves. We have to I got to figure out whatever I can do to withstand the storm. Nobody understands what I'm going through. Nobody feels what I'm feeling. Everybody knows more than I know. People have so much more experience. I can't possibly ask a question because I'm going to look so dumb. Like, I don't know, whatever lies you want to believe, right, or create in your world, we've done this to ourselves and we drop these taproots. And so we expect ourselves to be able to stand alone. And when you really look at the majesty of these redwood trees and how unbelievable they are and how strong they are and how much what they're giving back to the earth, actually, if you really want to get all nerdy with me, because of their size, the amount of oxygen that they're helping create in the world is unbelievable. And the matter of waste that they're dropping, they're creating such an incredible mulch, right? That the ground is so rich where they stand. And so if you just think about that in your life, right, you look at, Steve's not wrong about the roots. Like, our roots really matter, but sometimes we need to look at who our roots are connected to and who we're investing in and what we're investing in. Because if you go back to Steve's graphic of the tree and had listed, your family, your business, your friends, your neighborhoods, like whatever all was in their mental, spiritual, all of that, each one of those should be linked to people who are going to help you sustain these storms and the rotting of life that happens. It should be dropping things so that your ground is much more rich and much more fertile, and that you are building this strength in community. But that work is done all by yourself, right? You have to, Steve, you talked about at the beginning about being consistent, right? 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 2 minutes a day, whatever that looks like. That's the work you do on yourself, right? But your roots then are able to be healthy and connected by what you're dropping and who you're in association with, so that you can stand firm. So I know that's a little different direction than where you went with it, but I couldn't help it because I'm like, the sequoias are amazing trees, and they really do look like they should just fall over because they're so huge. They're so tall and they're so wide, right? So I think when you look at that kind of stuff, you just have to start also looking at your community to know what your roots are connected to. That's all.
Good word. Good word. Thanks for taking us out, Kim.
Well, love you guys. I hope you have a super great week. Steve, thanks so much for sharing. I appreciate this. It gave us good things to think about. This recording will be in Lions and Legends. You can go back and listen again and take some pictures of screenshots that you need so that you can be encouraged, because this is the year of more, right? More, betterer every day. So have a super great week and mark your calendars, January 23rd. Peace out.